Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Thursday. You know, we talked plenty on new sports being added around the area here over the last couple of years. Mayville State has decided to jump into the pond on that. For the first time in North Dakota, there'll be a college that will sponsor women's flag football. Mayville State will start doing that in 2027. Great to have Rocky Larson with us, athletic director, head football coach of the Comets, to give us the lowdown on this. It's great to see you. Tell us about this idea and when this came to fruition.
Year ago, Dom, it wasn't even on our radar.
Yeah.
And how quick the flag football scene has jumped to get us to where we are today, where we have a program, we're offering scholarships, we have a coach in place. I would say it really caught steam right around the Christmas time, where we wanted to continue to grow. And, you know, women's wrestling's been a big deal, lacrosse has been a big deal, soccer, there's a lot of things, but you know, we got in touch with the Arthur Blank Foundation, had a long talk with them about flag football, and they've made an unbelievable commitment to the state of Minnesota, and I believe starting possibly here in Fargo and getting leagues caught up. But you already have the turf, you already have all the stuff, you have the weight room, you have the facilities. It became a really natural fit to be able to add 30 women to our college program already, and we had a coach on our football staff who knows quite a bit about flag football, and it was a natural fit. So I'll tell you, we're really excited to get this off the ground. I know Coach Salmon's been out recruiting, getting offers out there, but I think this is and Dom, you've been around long enough. You know, there's fads that come up, and this is the next big sport. This is the next big sport. I think flag football is here to stay. When you put the NFL money behind it, when you have all the momentum heading towards the Olympics in 2028, this isn't a fad that's going to pop up for a year or two and disappear. I think women's flag football is here for the long haul. To
have, especially now the Olympics is going to be an Olympic sport in 2028, so obviously it's got the support there that it's going to be on the biggest of stages possible in a couple of years. When you started maybe filtering the idea out, what was the response from even just the student athletes to say this is potentially something we may look at?
Yeah, and I think the thought from the faculty and staff was even greater than the student athletes, that, you know, you've always had football that in Title IX, you could never combat that big a roster. And when women's flagging, you can put 25, 30, 35 kids on a team, and the NAI sponsors this as a national championship sport. I'll tell you, the student athletes, the positivity of getting this off the ground and running has been unbelievable. We've had people stopping by, hi, how can we help? What do we need to do? Coach Salmon's been down watching in the Fargo League. That just picked up. He was out of state recruiting, and I want to say there's over 30 states that have it as a high school sport, and one in our backyard here in Minnesota that has grown tremendously. And our quarterback, Matt Donovan, his dad, Terry Donovan's a flag football coach down in La Crescent, Minnesota. One of my college roommates is a flag football coach. So naturally, you have a lot of connections to start really opening some doors. You didn't realize how big the game is until you leave Mayville, North Dakota, and you go down to Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and there's these huge leagues, and it's really cool to see the women's side get to experience in a different way one of the greatest sport on the planet, and the understanding. And I'll tell you right now, there's some really dang good women's flag football players, and there's some quarterbacks that I might take on our roster.
You mentioned Tim Salmon is the coach. There's a guy he played for you. Was this something he approached you? You went to him. How did that come about to hire him as head coach?
Yeah, no. When President Van Horn is a huge supporter behind this, and one of his idea that we got him moving. And Tim Salmon was our quarterbacks coach. Obviously, he was an All-American quarterback for us. In 2023, he's done it all, 7-on-7. And, you know, when you have a chance to hire one of your own greats and be able to keep him on the football staff, because he's still going to coach quarterbacks for us in the fall. Yeah. And then once the season's over, he's going to go coach women's flag football. And it became a really good fit. Now, when we posted the job, I had no clue how many applications we get. We had 13 applications for the job.
Wow.
In Mayville, North Dakota, if you can get 10 applications, you never know what job's going to draw what. The women's basketball guy had a huge application pool and had no clue with the flag football, and it was a competitive search. But at the end of the day, someone with that 7-on-7 knowledge, someone who understands recruiting, someone who understands the state of North Dakota, and someone who loves Mayville State, it became a very natural fit.
So what are the next steps? You got to find players, and I know you mentioned that Coach Salmon's out doing that. So how does this happen? Because you're going to start. You want to do this next year. How speedy you got to do this to find players on your team?
Now, absolutely. And Coach Salmon's been out. He went out to Nevada, where it's a collegiate sport. Arizona, it's a collegiate. The hard part of starting it in North Dakota, it's not a collegiate. It's a high school sport. It's not sanctioned by the high school here yet. I think it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to go to track meets. We got to go to softball games. We have to recruit maybe kids who haven't played a ton of flag football or played it during homecoming week. And I had a lot of fun. And let's start building a roster that way. But we're doing it with scholarships. We're treating it because it's not a club. It is a college athletic sports where we're offering scholarships, and we want to be competitive. Anytime you play a collegiate athletic sport that they offer a national championship in, you want to be competitive and go chase it down. And Coach Salmon's going to say all the same stuff I would. Hey, we want to put the best product on the field. And I know Coach Salmon's got 15 to 20 offers out there already. So the number one thing is let's get kids on board.
Okay, so I got to find player. Then you got to find who you playing. Who do you play in this?
Yeah, and I don't. I think some other North Dakota schools are exploring it. I can't speak for them. I can speak for Mayville State. The Frontier Conference. We've had conversation with the commissioner. It's not a Frontier Conference sport at this point. Scott Crawford, who I work very closely with, he was the KCAC commissioner. He got flag football started in the KCAC, where it's the most dominant flag football conference in the country at the NAIA level. So when we naturally had our commissioner who had a wealth of knowledge in flag football, he was someone that we could rely on and bounce ideas off of. And he was a big piece of us getting this started. But you look at Concordia Moorhead, you look at the schools in Minnesota, colleges that have started it and playing some non-conference. We know we're going to have to go to Kansas to play some KCAC schools, and building that schedule is the next piece. And the other piece, Dom, I didn't think about until Dave Clunt texted me the other day of, hey, who's reffing these games? And it's a growing experience of, okay, this is the next step of a new sport. And thank goodness Fargo's getting it going, because they're already training some officials, but we're going to have to get in contact so we can get people to learn how to officiate it. And
Rocky, this is a sport to be played in the spring, correct? So, I mean, you have some time, but you don't have a ton of time. It's not till next spring that this will happen.
Yeah, and we want to look at possibly doing a jamboree type deal in the fall, where spring. We consider it spring football, right? The fall football for the female student athletes. We're going to do something to kind of kick it off. We're still bouncing some ideas around, and I know there's a couple club teams, so it might not be all athletic in the fall. We want to be competitive next spring, but we got to give our kids, and let's get this thing off the ground. So we'll do something in the fall. Okay. We won't play a whole season. We'll play a few scrimmages, whatnot. But fall practice and fall weight room and fall that type of stuff will happen.
You mentioned the amount of applicants you had, not only for this job. We had Jenna Bolstead on, your new women's basketball head coach. Tell me about hiring her and what stood out about the pool of candidates that she was the right person to hire for your women's basketball program.
Yeah, and, Coach Hutter stopping by. I'm going to talk to him here a little bit later today. I haven't had a chance to catch up with him. Coach Hutter left. It was middle of May, and, we only had 20 applications that time when he left, and we were coming off that national tournament run. Yes. So you get a change at coach, and you only had 20 applications coming off a 1-25 season. Like, what are we going to get for application? I was shocked. And the quality of applications was really exciting for us. We Zoom interviewed 13 different candidates. We brought 5 to campus. And honestly, Jenna has been an absolute rock star in our athletic department. She wants to be out in the community in small town North Dakota, being a face in the community, showing up at the golf course, buying your groceries in town. Like, that stuff matters so much around here, and she gets it. She's from small town Montana, and she is going to work those kids. And we've signed a couple of pretty good local kids here in the last week that will come out that we're really excited about to get the women's basketball program back in the direction when Coach Hutter left, and continue to go on it.
All right, for you here, I know this is a little bit of downtime before it gets going. Describe how spring ball went and ready for 2026 and your second year in the Frontier Conference for you.
Dom, it was a terrible spring weather-wise. It was cold, snow, and we don't have the luxury of having an indoor yet. And that's after our baseball team didn't play a single game at home.
That's awful.
So we got 8 spring ball practices in. We return 18 starters. So if there's a year that you can maybe, you never want to say miss a spring ball or two, but you can. It's not the end of the world. We got kids sticking around this summer. There's no such thing as downtime anymore in college coaching. There used to be, after graduation, you used to take 3 weeks and kind of reset before the summer. Those days are over. Having our 3rd child here in June, so there's no such thing as downtime. And I actually gave our guys a half day off, the morning off this morning, and I felt guilty doing that because there's all this. We go to Arizona this year in the Frontier Conference. We go to Oklahoma.
I saw.
Yeah. So there's places I've never been to Oklahoma. Now we got to go plan travel. I'm sure the Bison, they're in the same boat on some places they've never been. So it's a learning experience for all of us. But we're looking forward. The Frontier Conference was awesome last year. Looking forward to continue, and awesome to have Bismarck State joining us next year in the league and piecing this thing together. So it's a really exciting time for North Dakota college football, and high school football is continuing to get better. With the big names coming out of the state, North Dakota football in general right now is in a really good place.
It's great to catch up, bud. Congrats on this. We'll visit again once we get some players, and we'll get Coach Salmon on as well to talk about flag football coming to Mayville. Good to see you, bud. Thanks for the time.
Hey, good to see you. Awesome. Have a good weekend.
There he is, Rocky Larson joining us. Mayville State Athletic Director, head football coach. Is Mayville State making some history. They are the first school in North Dakota to sponsor women's flag football, coming to Mayville in the spring of 2027. It's coming, folks. We know it's an Olympic sport. It's only getting bigger. We know it's sanctioned here in town. Hopefully, without the not too distant future, it becomes a sanctioned high school sport, because that I can see being very popular around here. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll put a bow on things, get you ready for a windy sports Thursday. As Hot Mike wraps after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com.